Getting ready for bed at a regular time is one of the most important habits you can learn.
Who you gonna call?
Ghostbusters! Jason was my son, and today is his birthday.
Oh, Laurie, scared another one away.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Sorry, Jack. Chucky's back.
We are counselors at Hackett's Quarry Summer Camp. There is a swarm of bears.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
No! Glenn! Somebody help me, please!
Most people are so ungrateful to be alive, but not you.
It's showtime.
Hello. Welcome back to another fabulous and wonderful episode of the Screen Stream. Now we are on episode 28, and we're continuing and almost done with our horror from around the world. We are now on an Argentina film that, I'm going to be honest, guys, I was not expecting this film to be as good as it was. This film has some great-ass jump scares in it, some real intense, suspenseful moments. I loved it. Like, I actually had to applaud this movie at the end because it actually physically made me jump out of my chair at one point. Even though I should have seen this coming, like, dead ass, I should have seen this scare coming, it still scared the shit out of me. But it is 2017's Terrified. It is a beautiful, well-crafted horror movie. I'm not gonna lie, it's very underrated, and it's a very good Shudder original movie. Like, I'm hoping, from what I've read about this movie, in the future, that apparently they will be doing a sequel to this movie. I'm excited to see where they go with this movie, and once we get done talking about this movie, you'll probably understand why I'm excited to see a sequel, because this movie blew my fucking mind. I thought it was going to be about ghosts and like a typical like haunted house horror thing or some kind of demon explained shit. No. They literally just blow my mind with this whole premise. And guys, just to give y'all a heads up yet again, but spoilers. Y'all know me, I like my spoilers because I gotta talk about every aspect of these movies. But one of the biggest aspects is that this has nothing to do with ghosts, nothing to do with demons. No, this has to do with not interdimensional, but parallel dimensional beings that can basically come over through the water because their world is on top of us, basically, if that makes any sense. It's almost like the upside down in some aspects, but their world's on top of us, and they come in to our world and use our body as like a host to nest and just reproduce, and they drink blood, and it's fucking weird. Like, we don't really get a full explanation on these things. I wish we did, to be honest. I'm hoping in the second movie they explain a little bit more, because this shit just blew my fucking mind. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I'll do my best to try to explain it when we get there, because they give us some good examples and some theories and shit. But another thing that caught my attention is this movie apparently is going in the works. I don't know if this is true or not, but last I checked, they said that they're going to do a remake of this movie, an American remake, because this movie is from Argentina and it's all in Spanish. And at first I was a little worried, because anytime the Americans get their hand on a good fucking horror movie from a different country, they Americanize it and bastardize it, and it just ruins the fun. But I saw who the director was going to be and who's actually like, hey, I really want to do this. It's fucking Del Toro. Fucking Del Toro wants to do this movie. I'm like, okay, I can get behind that now. I can honestly 100% get behind this, because this man, this movie's right up his alley. I'm not even gonna lie, this movie's right up his fucking alley. So hands down, I might see this remake if it even comes to fruition, to be honest. But this movie is directed by Damien Rugna, Rugna, Rugna. the whole simple premise is it's concerning a series of supernatural events in Buenos Aires. Lovely neighborhood, by the way. Lovely fucking neighborhood. It's a very beautiful neighborhood. But yeah, from that synopsis alone, just supernatural events, you know, like I said, I was assuming ghosts. But this movie is not a ghost movie, not a demon movie. It's some kind of fucking dimensional parallel universe bullshit. It's fucking crazy. Let's go over the cast real quick. I don't really know any of these people, to be perfectly honest, because I don't watch a lot of Argentina films. So none of these people really ring true. Even looking at their filmography and shit, didn't even recognize some of these guys. But they're fine actors, fine. Each one of them did a perfect job. We got Maximilian playing Detective Funes. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Funes, Funes. Really cool guy. I like this character. He shows up about halfway through this movie. Fucking love him. He's that type of character who he believes what he sees, but he has no way to explain this. Because there's several points in this movie where he's just like, hey, how do I explain this to my people? How do I explain this to the crowd outside? What do I tell the fellow cops? Because this is weird, man. At one point, this man's the smartest man in the movie, okay? I'm not even gonna lie. This man sees this shit several points in the movie and nopes the fuck out. I'm with this guy. Norberto Gonzalo? Yeah, Gonzalo. He plays, ow, my knee. That's okay, I don't need that knee. That knee sucks anyway. But, he plays, Geno. Again, some of these guys are really hard to pronounce because they're Spanish and I'm dyslexic as fuck. Never a good combination, guys. It's never a good combination. But I want to say his role in this entire movie is he's another, not paranormal investigator, but he's seen some shit. And we even learned about some of the shit he has seen before. But he can maybe add a different insight compared to the cop character who, like I said, he sees it. He just don't know how to explain it. And he doesn't want to deal with it because he's just like, no. But I want to say his middle name is Mario, so we'll be calling him Mario through this movie. But he's a great character because he brings out an interesting balance to a lot of the other characters because of the fact that his philosophy, and he, like I said, we'll learn a little bit more about this in the movie, but his philosophy is, if you don't fuck with it, it can't hurt you. And I like that. I really like that because there's people who believe that. If you don't meddle with the supernatural, you act like the dead is just that, dead, they can't fuck with you. Boy, is he wrong, though. I'm not gonna lie. He is fucking wrong as shit, though, because they fucked with him hardcore. We got Elvira Onetto. Onetto. She plays Dr. Marr. Love this bitch. I do. She's just she's so calm. Her and her buddy Rosenthal, who is played by George Lewis. So nonchalant about everything. So nonchalant. Just dude comes in at one point, blood on his hands. Something's wrong with my friend outside. Well, whatever's going on, you can't believe everything you see. Now wash your hands of blood. These creatures like it. Just so calm. Just so fucking calm. It blows my mind how nonchalant this bitch is. Both her and her buddy. Juliette Volin plays Alicia. That bitch is crazy. That's all I'm gonna say. Damien Solomon, who plays Walter. His scenes are some of the scariest shit. It's not just his scenes, it's just his house. Whatever is the main problem is inside of Walter's house. It's like the nest, basically, I think is how they described it. And that's where all the bullshit's coming in at, and there's some great ass scares coming from his house. I'm not even gonna lie. Every single scare that got me came from when we were inside of his house or just talking about his house. We got August Renato, yeah, Rittano. He plays Juan. Pretty chill guy. Poor dude been through the ringer. I'm not gonna lie, this man for most of this movie is either in flashbacks or is just drugged the fuck up because he's been put through the ringer. We seen the opening, what the hell happens to him. God bless him. We got... Oh, I got this boy. He's literally called the Boy, but his name is Mantis Roskovich. He plays this little boy. And I'm hoping it's this character because he's literally just credited as the Boy. And the boy I can think of is this creepy ass decomposing body that we see in this movie. And it's actually the scene they use in the 101 Scary Movie Moments. And I'm not gonna lie, that's a good not jump scare, but a good scare. It's good intention build-up because of the fact that we're anticipating it so damn much, and then when it happens, we just can't believe it, and neither can these people. And then they have to explain, well, we all both saw this shit. You saw this shit. I saw this shit. So how do we explain this shit? But this boy is just fucking creepy. Like, straight up. Like, he doesn't move very much. And when he does move, it's just beautiful. Chef kiss. And then we got Nadjaline, Natgilia. She plays Clara. We don't really get too terribly much with her. She's only in the opening and I think in one flashback scene. But yeah, she does a good job for her little, like, 3 seconds of screen time, to be perfectly honest. Loved all the acting, though. The acting was, by far, really good. Oh my god, just, if y'all haven't seen this movie, I do highly suggest y'all see this movie before we talk about this shit, because it's great. It's fucking great. Like, the music is really done extremely well. There's some good audio moments. Like, there was one audio moment where it's, like, completely silent. And we'll get there when we get there, but it's, like, completely silent until the jump scare happens. And it was just... I had me yelling at the television, just, start the car, man! Just move the fucking car! Like, it freaked me out. But let's go ahead and dive on into this bullshit. It shouldn't take us too long. It's only an hour-and-a-half movie. Highly recommend it, though. Check it out on Shudder. But if you don't have Shudder, apparently you can rent it or buy it out on, I want to say, YouTube and Amazon Prime and shit. But if you got Shudder, definitely check it out. It's worth it. 100%, it's worth it. Now, this movie, I am going to say, it's a little out of whack when it comes to the timeline, because we start in the present and then we work backwards and tries to fill in. It's not too complicated as long as you're paying attention. But God forbid you don't pause it and you go to the bathroom and come back, you might be a little bit confused. But we start with a beautiful redhead woman. This is Claire, we find out at some point. She is washing some dishes and she's staring intently at this sink. And of course the camera is hyper-focused on the sink and we're hearing like this weird drainage noise. Like, it almost reminds me of Pennywise inside the sink, making like weird gargling noises, like he's scratching in the pipes or some bullshit. I don't know. Apparently she didn't watch Stephen King's It, so she kept looking into the drain. And eventually she gives the fuck up on it after slowly backing away from it. And her husband comes home, and this guy, first words out of his mouth, like straight up, it's just like, oh, you know that dog we hit the other day? Yeah, he's fine, by the way. Thank God we didn't bury him or anything. I'm just like, that's a fantastic conversation to come into. Like, your wife just looks scared. And you're like, oh yeah, remember that dog? Yeah, totally fine. We didn't kill him. I mean, great that the dog's not dead, but still just a weird conversation to have. But as he's, taking off, like, his jacket and everything, he realizes there's no dinner, so he's just like, did you change your mind? What's going on? Is everything okay? I couldn't cook today. Why? What's up? I heard voices coming from inside the sink. So, of course, he goes over there and investigates it. That's a good man right there. That's a great fucking man. The fact that his wife is just like, nah, I didn't make dinner. I heard voices coming from inside the sink. And he goes straight to that. That's a good man right there. I'm telling you, if I looked at Eric and was like, honey, I didn't cook dinner because I heard voices coming from inside the sink, he might think I'd be a little mad. Just a little bit. Might look at me, roll his eyes and go, you watch too many fucking horror movies or some bullshit like that. But he's a good husband. So he, leans in, hugs her, and goes, well, what were they whispering? Were they human whisperings? And she's like, yeah, no, they were human voices. And they told me that they were going to kill me. Well, isn't that lovely? That's lovely. That is just super, super lovely. Just, they're going to kill me. Title card right there, like straight up. Just went straight into the title card after that. But, yeah, that kind of sets up for kind of like the start of, I'm assuming, how everybody gets started with their hauntings. And again, we'll see a lot of shots of like staring at sinks in the water because, again, it's explained in the movie that these beings use the water, the tap water, to move from body to person to person, per se. Not like a Jason Voorhees from Jason Goes to Hell, but they use the water to travel with. And we actually see this at a later jump scare that shocked the fuck out of me. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what it is about you foreign motherfuckers and children in horror movies, but y'all don't hold back. Like, I'm not even lying. Like, every horror movie I have watched this month that involves children, y'all are not afraid to kill them. I'm gonna be straight up. Y'all are not afraid to kill a child in front of us. Like, straight up. Like I guess because in America, it's one of those like taboo things where we really don't kill too many kids on the screen. And so when it does happen, it takes us out, like, oh my God, like, I can't believe they done that. Like, let's go back to Halloween real quick, Halloween 2018. When Michael killed that kid in the truck, everybody in that theater fucking gasped, just, like, even I fucking gasped. I was not expecting Michael to kill a kid, because he never straight up killed a kid until that movie. But Argentina, Korea, y'all motherfuckers said, oh, that's a kid? Yeah, kill it with fire, we don't need it. But I love it, though, I love it, because it got a good jaw drop for me, I'm not gonna lie. But after the title card, we cut back to the couple, and Clara quickly gets up, goes to take a shower. We hear her go in there, start the shower and all this shit. Juan's over there trying to lay back down, turns off the light. And he starts hearing this thud noise, just boom, boom. He thinks it's his neighbor because his neighbor's been doing some reconstruction, he says. So he bangs on the wall. Hey, man, it's too early in the morning to do this shit, because it is 5 o'clock in the morning. So I 100% agree with this man. It's too damn early to be starting with this banging. And of course, the banging stops for a second, and then continues on, so he bangs again, and it repeats itself. So eventually he gets fed the fuck up, goes outside, goes next door, starts ringing the intercom, and it's just yelling at this man. I'm talking about going ham, just, motherfucker, it is 5 a.m., what's your problem? And the entire time he's bitching this guy out, you can hear something over the intercom, like it's gasping for air. Like, it's a really hard noise to define, but it's like it's gasping, like, it's really fucking weird. But the dude won't let his neighbor Walter get a word in edgewise. He's just chewing him out, just stop it, man, it's 5 a.m., just pick it up later. He goes back inside, still hears the fucking banging, still hears it, so he's like, okay, maybe it's not Walter. Claire, so he walks down the hallway, opens the door. We get this nice shot where we're following him as he opens the door, and we pan over and we see the wall is covered with bloody handprints all over the place. Let you know right off the bat, this ain't some good shit. And then there is his wife levitating and floating above the bathtub, just violently being slung back and forth between the walls and the walls in the bathroom, just back and forth, like, aggressively. Like, it took me aback, because I heard about this scene, because they talked about it in 101 Scary Movie Moments. I wasn't expecting this scene, though. Like, so early in the movie, I was just like, okay, we're starting with a bang here. But yeah, like, it's just like, it's violent. Like, it's fucking, like, aggressive as hell. Like, you feel the every time she hits that fucking wall. And poor Juan's over there trying to help her out. So he's like grabbing onto her fucking clothes and like, no, Clara, baby, come on, wake up, stay with me, you know, don't be doing this. And then she just still just slings her head against the back of the fucking wall to the point that poor Juan just gets up and starts screaming. Just screaming. I don't blame the man, though. I honestly don't. Like, straight up, what else are you supposed to do in that situation? Like, seriously, if you walk into a bathroom, you see your loved one just floating there with blood all over the place, what would you do? I know my ass would sit there. I would attempt to try to save them, but you know what? If I, like, try to go for them and then the body's slung the other way, I'm getting the fuck out. I'm recording this shit and calling 911. Okay, the reason why I'm recording is because no one's gonna believe me. I need proof. And that's one thing in this movie they harp on about is the proof. The proof of the existence of whatever the hell's happening. So, poor one, having a bad day, having a bad time. They got him, I think, in like a psychiatric hospital or something like that. I'm not quite sure. It's not jail, I can tell you that. It ain't jail, but this man ain't looking good for him. They think he might have murdered his wife or some bullshit. But he's brought into a room where there's 3 people. We learn that these 3 people are, of course, the doctor, her assistant, Rosenthal, and, of course, Mario. And they're chit-chatting with him about the incident, going, well, we know it wasn't you. We know it wasn't you're the one that hurt your wife. Here's some pictures. Look at these pictures. And he doesn't even get a chance to look at it. He kind of like flicks them off and goes, I seen this shit. I don't need to look at it. And they're like, no, look again. So he takes another look around. He looks at the photos. It's not even his wife. It's another person. It's another case from 1998. Similar MO, similar situation. And so he looks at them and goes, so if this is the same case, was this one ever solved? And they kind of just brushed that off like he didn't ask that question. Just, we just, we're going to solve this. We're going to solve this. But we need to know, though, before we delve any further into this, what exactly has been going on in this neighborhood for, I don't know, roughly, say, 2 weeks? So he just sits there and he starts thinking about it for a minute. He comes back with, well, there was an accident in front of my house, and Walter's been acting weird ever since. That's when he started his remodeling and everything. So then we cut to Walter. Walter seems distressed. I'm not gonna lie. Walter looks like he hasn't slept in like 72 hours. He's disheveled. He is frantic. He is manic. He is panicked. He is everything underneath the sun besides okay. He's on the phone, though, begging somebody to help him, and she's just like, listen, doctor's not in right now. Maybe there's another person you could reach out to. He's like, no, I've talked to everybody. They said she's the only one I could talk to. I need to talk to her. And, of course, this bitch is just like, yeah, no, well, she's not in, so can you call back tomorrow? Hangs up the phone. And just, first of all, what kind of assistant are you to not even take this man serious? Like, the man is calling saying, hey, listen, all these other doctors told me to talk to her. I need to talk to her. Like, why are you being a bitch? Like, seriously, like, are you mad? You jaded about something? I didn't get that bitch. I wish she was in this movie so I could watch her die too, because that was a bitch move. I'm not gonna lie. Like, straight up, that's a bitch ass move. Just, I need some help. Can you call back tomorrow? Thanks. Hangs up phone like, smack the shit out of you. Poor Walter, though, he ain't having a good day. So we cut to him at his house. And he keeps repeatedly pulling the covers back, looking underneath the bed, pulling them down. Pulling them up, looking underneath the bed, pulling them down. He keeps doing this over and over again. And eventually, he pulls up the covers, gets out of the bed, and as he's walking towards the bathroom, the covers fall again by themselves. He goes, takes some pills, drinks some water, goes, lays in bed, or walks up to his bed, see that it's slightly askew, so he moves it and then lays into his bed and tries to go to sleep. Man doesn't even get to sleep for like 5, maybe 6 seconds. The bed just starts slowly moving back to the original position it was, waking his ass up. And this is the moment. This was the moment that just made me I screamed out loud, like straight up. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I showed this particular scene to my roommate, and he thought the scene was creepy, and he didn't catch the thing I caught, which is the reason why I screamed. But the man goes to check underneath the bed, and the camera follows him down. He pulls it up. There's nothing there. As he gets up, like from leaning over the bed, he's leaning up, the camera follows him. But if you're paying attention, underneath the bed, you see whatever the fuck it is actually appear from the shadows underneath the bed. Scared the shit out of me, because I was looking at that like, because I thought it was just a weird camera angle to go at, like, because we didn't stay pace with him. It was like he moved up first, and then 2 seconds later, the camera decided to move. And so I was looking at the bed, because that's what I do in every horror movie when someone's checking closets and shit. I look at these things. And so I was looking at the bed, not expecting something to be there, because generally nothing's there during that first go around. But whoop, there it was. Just popped up. Just scared the fuck out of me. He lays back down, though, and then the camera cuts to the creature underneath the bed, and it looks like a dude, very pale, humanoid figure, like, he's got like a random fucking leg with him, just pops out of the bed. Just some weird ass shit. So as he's laying there, trying to go back to sleep, the fucking lights go out. And you see the little wire moving and everything, so homie, reaches over and tries to flip it back on. Doesn't want to flip. It's unplugged. So this man leans over, grabs the plug in, frantically tries to plug it back in. As soon as he turns the fucking lights on, there's this thing. You see just the leg standing behind him in the doorway, and then it runs the fuck off. Then this man does the next brightest thing I've ever seen. And he hides underneath the covers. Grown-ass man, by the way. Grown-ass fucking man. Hides underneath the covers as the lights go out. And he starts praying. I don't blame the man, because as he is praying, you hear the footsteps or whatever the fuck was in this room running around. And then we see a hand come over the covers, and it just cuts to the next day. Straight up. And Walter, oh my God. He wakes up. And this poltergeist, or whatever it is, took a note out of Poltergeist's book and rearranged his entire house. Straight up. He just moved the table over, put some chairs on top of the thing, moved the clock upside down. Just some weird decorating tips. Just very fucking weird. But Walter wakes up and he just looks so confused. Just like, now, I did not leave my dresser drawer so close to the bed. Like, how the fuck did this happen? Like, straight up, he looks so confused. But we then cut to him back at his job on the phone with that fucking bitch again. Just, I really need to talk to this doctor. Please, I've seen it. It's real. Like, please, for the love of God, just let me talk to her. And she's just like, well, we need proof, and there's nothing we could do without proof, so we're not going to take your case until we have proof. The poor man is just so utterly defeated at this point after she hangs up the phone. When he goes home, he stares at his fucking house before he walks in, and Juan from next door comes over, and he's just like, hey, man, you alright? Yeah, I'm fine. What's with all the banging and shit? You're disturbing my wife. Oh, yeah, renovations and everything. So there was that lie right off the bat. So this tells you in the timeline, whatever's happening started in Walter's house. We don't know what happened to cause this shit. We don't know exactly how this has happened, but we know that Walter's been affected, and whatever it is nesting in his house. And it's something to do with the water. And we'll get there when we get there. But he decides, okay, they want the proof, I'll give them proof. So he gets this little camera, and he rearranges it, puts it on top of this closet he's got, pointing at the bed. He lays down. He's very tense, very, very, very tense. I'm talking about like this man just sitting there, just staring at the camera, waiting for something to happen. Of course, the lights go out, and he goes to sleep eventually. And I'm assuming it's not even like 30 minutes later. I'm not even gonna give it 30 minutes. I'm just giving him at least some time to sleep. I'm gonna say 30 minutes though. But the camera wakes him up when it hits the ground. And, of course, you know, he looks at the camera, looks around, you know, tries to play with the lights a little bit. And he can't get the light going on, but we see this humanoid shadow creature just on the wall doing weird shadow puppets. Okay, it's not really shadow puppets, but the fact that it's, like, standing there like Nosferatu, just, and, you know, doing some weird, like, hand gestures and stuff. Breaks him out, so eventually he gets the light on, the shadow person goes away, so he jumps up, grabs the camera, and he starts frantically going through it, and you see in the camera some naked dude, like naked tall dude. I'm talking about like a really, like this thing was like 6'4", maybe 6'5", and he's butt-ass naked, just standing there looking at him, and then it slowly moves into the closet. So, you know, Walter being smart, drops the camera, and I'm thinking at first, okay, this man's about to leave. This man's being smart, he's leaving. Hallelujah, finally a smart. No. He grabs a gun. Which is not the stupidest thing in the world. But the fact that there was a tall, naked man standing there, and you know it's in the closet. Why are you even going to go investigate it? Just get the fuck out of the house. But you know what? To each their own. So Walter goes to investigate. And of course, he rips open the fucking doors. And he starts frantically moving the clothes around. It ain't that big of a closet. The man's like 6'4". So I doubt he's hiding in that closet. But, you know, after doing all that shit, he closes the door and he puts the gun down on the floor and he grabs the camera again. He's just like, who are you? What are you? What do you want? And he sees that, like, comes out from underneath the bed and all the shenanigans. And as, he's standing there, you know, on the floor, or not really standing, he's like in a crouching position on the floor. We get this nice camera angle facing him as he's hunched over looking at the camera, and the closet's behind him. And the closet doors open up. And the fucking dude is standing there, just like straight up. I'm just like, oh, hell to the fucking nah. Just nah. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, that right there. As soon as that thing popped up, that was the only thing that popped in my head. And of course, Walter sees this shit in the reflection of the gun, so he goes to reach for it. And as soon as he reaches for it, the monster beats him to it, and it just screams, and we cut. This scene that I'm about to talk about right here, this is another little time jump. We're going to the accident Juan was talking about. This scene, jaw on the floor. This is what I'm talking about with kids. So this little boy, he kicks a little soccer ball. Soccer ball rolls to the yard. Little boy runs over there, grabs it. He's thirsty, sees the faucet. Leans over, starts drinking out of the water. Fucking Walter is standing there at the window, you know, being all creepy and shit. And he's like, "Hey, kid, get off this property. Stay the fuck away. It is dangerous. Don't drink that water. Stay away. Back up. Leave this place." And the entire time, this kid doesn't say a word. Just grabs his ball, slowly starts backing up. Just slowly. I'm talking about slowly backing up all the way into the streets and all that shit. And as he's right in the middle of the street, a fucking bus comes out of nowhere and runs this kid over. I'm talking about like dead ass, just comes out of fucking nowhere, runs him over. I was just like, the fuck? Like, I was not expecting that. First of all, it looked like a little suburb, so I was very surprised to see a bus. Second of all, the fact that it was a kid, and he got hit randomly by a bus. The third part, the fact that it was random. That's why it took me by surprise. But of course, you know, the accident happens, and Juan's fixing this crack in the wall, which I forgot to mention when he's talking to Walter before Walter goes to his house. He talks about that he's banging so hard that it actually put a crack in his side of the house. I want to say they have like a little duplex and they're like right next to each other just about. But Juan's fixing it, and of course he's just like, oh, I'll go investigate because I heard this noise, and he steps outside, and of course we see the little boy. We're looking just from his waist down, and there's blood everywhere, and he starts screaming for Alicia, and it's something I didn't notice until I backed it up a little bit because I missed something he said. It was he was screaming for Alicia. And I was just like, wait a minute, wasn't his wife named Clara or something? So I had to go back and check. But it was the second time I was going back, I realized the bus driver took the fuck off. Like, straight up, just off, nope, fuck this shit, I'm out. Just ran the hell off. Like, no one gonna stop this man? Like, nobody. But that is the accident they were talking about that happened before the Clara incident and everything. And I want to say that was roughly... They said at one point the accident took place 4 days prior before one of the incidents in the story. So this, again, had to happen within a week or two. At least a week. But after the accident, of course, we're at the funeral. We're supporting Alicia. We're just like, hey, we're here for you if you need us. If you need anything, no big deal. And then we cut to Mario, who's asleep in his bed. He gets a phone call waking him up, and it's an old friend of his, Detective Vernon. And he's just like, hey, listen, I hate to call you this late, but I got a case here that's just not making any sense whatsoever. Just nothing's adding up. Nothing's making sense, basically. So I'm going to need your input, and I need you to come in. And he's just like, okay, whatever you need, I'm there to help. We then cut back to Alicia, who is, I'm assuming that night after the funeral, she's sitting in her kitchen smoking a cigarette. And this poor woman, like, she just looks defeated. And I don't blame her, she just buried her son. She just buried her fucking son. So I get why she has, this overwhelming sense of just depression and dread and just not wanting to be there. But she's smoking a cigarette and she hears, like, these weird thud noises coming from her front door. So she's like, well, who the hell is that? She goes to investigate. She opens up the window a little bit, and you just see muddy handprints all over the door. You see muddy handprints all over the wall. We see muddy footprints, and then we see the silhouette of a boy standing there. We then cut to Mario in the car, and he's chit-chatting with another officer, and this guy seems spook as fuck. I'm talking, and we'll notice this, especially during this scene, is that all of the cops are so spooked they don't even want to be in the house. Like, there's at one point when they get to the house, this one guy's just like, hey, can me and my fellow officers just wait outside? Like, we don't want to be in this place. But they get there, and of course, Vernon meets Mario there, and he's just like, hey, do you spook easily? No, but you know what? You never know. Let's go inside and see what happens. So they go inside, and of course, we follow the little footprint trails all the way to where the mother's at, and the mother's sitting there. She's covered in mud, but she's just like, I think it's Cyril the way he wanted it. Like, he's okay, she's not there. She's not okay. Granted, this woman's not been okay since we met her, but she's not okay. And they go, okay, so what exactly are we dealing here with? What exactly is going on? And that's when one of the cops, come in and just go, hey, can we wait outside? And like, yeah, that's fine. So everybody leaves except for the detective Furnace and Mario. So they go into the kitchen, and they're building this whole... And what's great about this scene is that they're building this whole scene up, where the fact that Furnace basically informs us as the audience and Mario that he knows Alicia. He went to this funeral. He knows the boy's dead. Like 100% he knows for a fact that this boy is dead. There's no way that any of this could be happening. Like he's literally straight up just saying, I know for a fact what we're about to walk into shouldn't be happening. We get into the kitchen though, and there's the boy just sitting there in front of his bowl of cereal with his milk with a spoon in it, and he's just sitting there. And as we are walking into this kitchen, there are several frames where the boy is sitting in the back, in front of the table, but the cop and Mario are sitting in front of the camera. So there's this good perspective where you're constantly watching this kid, because we're even told by the cop that we're pretty sure we've all seen this kid move. Like we think, like he straight up like, hey, we are pretty sure he's moved. Like we can't prove it, but we think he's done moved. And of course Mario is just like, this is impossible, but okay, we'll figure this out. So he grabs the spoon, he shakes it off, and he puts it underneath the kid's nose, and he makes a comment about how it smells rotten in here. And as they investigate his body a little bit more, they see that he's got like like his flesh is torn from his fingers, like he dug himself out of this grave. And while they're trying to figure this out, of course, Fernand is just like, how do I explain this? Like, what are the options here? Like, what exactly could be going on here? Well, I mean, it could be the mother. It could be her. She could have been so grief-stricken that she can't believe that her son's dead, so she unburied her son and brought him home. But that's not the best explanation I can give you. That's the only reasonable explanation I can give you, because none of this is easily explained. And I don't want you to say this because this would then just put her in the madhouse. And I don't think you want her in the madhouse. And he's like, no, I don't. But none of this makes sense. So they go to turn off the light, I guess, to leave the house, because they're like, we need to move the body, but we gotta wait till she's asleep because this is just not gonna be easy. They're trying to keep this pretty hush-hush, because again, how do you explain this? This boy, this body, this boy's body has just moved into this house, and he's been dead for 4 days, 4 fucking days. So how, and people are seeing this shit, that he's posed in this kitchen like he's having a normal Saturday breakfast. How do you explain any of this? So they turn off the light, and he's just like, and he, asks Fernand, do you know this woman? He's just like, yeah, I used to date her back in the day. We had relations, yada, yada, yada. And as they go to walk out, they hear something get knocked over. So they quickly, look at the boy, turn the light back on, look back at him. The fucking milk has done spilled over, and the boy has moved position just ever so slightly. Just ever so slightly. And of course, they're looking at the boy, and he's just like, you know it moved, right? Like, it moved. It totally moved. Oh, excusez-moi. But they know that it moved, so they go over there to investigate it again, and they're just like, this is messed up, man. What do we do? So Mario replies with, just bury him. We just bury him, act like none of this is happening, it'll be all okay. And of course, the cop's just like, what do you mean just bury him? You're joking, right? Like, you can't just bury him and act like none of this is happening. He's like, oh yeah, the hell we can. We can, we will, and that's the best course of action we could do right now, because otherwise, if we say anything, do anything, your lady friend might wind up in the mental hospital. And he, of course he agrees. He's like, yeah, we don't want that happening. Okay, do what you must. But whatever you do, don't ever turn off that light again. And he walks out the house. I'm with that cop. I'm with Furnace over here. I'm with him. Don't turn that fucking light off. But as he leaves, Mario leans in close towards the boy, and he's just like, why are you here? Why did you come to visit us? What do you want? Trying to have a conversation with this kid. Like, the kid's gonna really fucking answer him, but you know, he's hoping. He's hoping. So we move on to the next day, and of course the mom's still in frantics. The son's up. She does not want the boy to leave. She's like, no, you can't take my son. He's my boy. My son. I love him. You can't. Like, again, just a crazy fucking woman. It reminds you of that woman back in Black Sabbath that we just spoke about, where she was just like, if you take my son and stake him, I'm going to kill myself with this knife. Like, ma'am, you buried your son, okay? You buried him. Like, we had a funeral. Why is this such in denial for you? Like, I'm sorry. Like, even as a grieving parent, you should realize that when your child comes back from the grave, that's never a good thing. That's never a fucking good thing. And that you should maybe leave it alone and just bury it. Like, has nobody seen Pet Sematary? Is that it? They just think, you know, Judge said it the best. Sometimes dead is better. Saying. But like I said, we're on the next day. Mom doesn't want to fucking move the body and all that. And while they're trying to calm her down, Mario goes outside and sees a woman taking pictures of Walter's house. So he goes over there and he's just like, "Excuse me, ma'am. You know, what can I help you with?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm Dr. Mario. And I'm here because Walter sent me a mailing letter, but every time I bring the intercom, he doesn't answer. Like, I don't know what's going on." And he apparently recognizes her. He knows her work and everything because she's a paranormal investigator. So he's like, well, with the strange cases that's going on across the street, because I don't live here and you don't live here, what are the same odds? Like, he literally thinks this is a strange fucking coincidence that both of them here are dealing with two cases all in the same neighborhood, literally right across the street from each other. So he's just like, fuck it, let's work together on this shit. And she's like, hell yeah, let's do it. So as they go over next door, of course the cop pulls Mario aside and he's just like, hey bro, yeah, this what is this? Like, who is this? She's a colleague, she's a friend, she's an amazing worker, she can help us out in this scenario. And she starts taking pictures. And of course the cop's just like, hey, you can't be doing this shit. Come on, man. Like, I'm retiring in 2 months. First of all, I died laughing because we all know the joke about in horror movies when a cop said he's going to retire in 2 months. It's never 2 months. It's always within that same week, and they generally die. Funny enough, though, I can't say he dies. If I remember correctly, at the end of the movie, he's alive. He's fine. He's just a fugitive. I don't know. We don't see him after a certain point in the movie, which is, of course, near the end. But we'll get there when we get there. But, he's just like, I'm too much for retirement. You know, you can't be doing this. And of course, yeah, Mario's just like, all right, first of all, you're tired. It's been a long day. It's been a long night. Why don't you go to the cemetery, get some concrete. We're going to make damn sure the kid is done and buried. Rest, come back. We'll watch over Alicia. It'll be all good. And of course, you know, the cop's just like, okay, that's fine. No big deal. You got this. I trust you. And he walks off, you know, goes there, I guess, handles the cemetery. And the doctor and him go inside. And of course he shows her around. She sees the boy's body. And she makes a comment saying that it smells, but it's not rotten. It just smells dead. Which I didn't really know there was a difference between rotten smell and dead smell. But I don't hang around enough corpses to do a comparison here. But as they're looking around and she sees the body, Mario sits her down and explains that he's seen shit like this before. He's seen shit like this. Oh, something I forgot to mention when he's talking to the cop about the exclamation. This shit was just funny to me. This shit was funny. Before he walks out and before he makes the comment about never turning off the lights again, he asks for an explanation about the situation. He's just like, what do I tell my people? And that's literally the words he used. What do I tell my people about this? And his exact wordings, or his exact words, are, oh, it could be gas buildup inside of his body, you know, muscle spasms and stuff, you know, completely natural. Well, alrighty then. And then that's when he says the light thing and walks off. That shit made me laugh because, like, you really want people to believe that gas and spasms made this corpse unbury itself and walk all the way to his home, walk all the way inside, and sit down at the kitchen table. That is some magical muscle spasms, and I hope that we never actually have to deal with that in actual real life. Like, I've seen it where, you know, the muscles spaz out, you know, after somebody dies or something like that. You know, have we seen it in biology with the frog legs and shit? I think Rose Red said the best at one point in the beginning of the movie. If you ever seen that movie, y'all know what monologue I'm talking about. But it's just the one train, the one muscle spasm though. It's just muscle spasms. It's like, bro, you could have come up with anything better to explain, tell these people, you know. Like, hell, you even twist it around and say, oh, you know, some fucked up individuals out there in this world just fucking with a mother. Like, you couldn't even say that. No, it's build-up of gas, you know, the spasms of the muscles and shit. You know how dead bodies are. But I digress. I meant to say something, but I completely skipped over that section. But we're with Mario, and he's telling a story. About 15 years ago, he worked as a mortician. And while he was there, he was exhuming the body of a young man who had 14 bullet wounds inside of his head. And because his head was so mangled, he had to take the skull apart to investigate the inside of his skull. And after 5 hours, this boy opened up his eyes and grabbed him by the wrist. Freaking him out. He's thinking, okay, you know, I'm just seeing shit. I'm tired. It's been a long day. And then it happened again. And then it happened again. And then it happened to somebody else. And eventually the family ended up seeing this shit. And at one point, the young man ended up sitting up and talking to him. And the point is that he was trying to make is, you don't meddle with shit you can't explain. If you act like they're dead, they will stay dead. And his whole philosophy is that when you grieve, if you're grieving, I wouldn't say grieving too much, but being an overwhelmness of grief, you know, sadness, your emotions can bring the dead back to life. And so if you focus hard enough, and I've heard this theory before when it comes to, you know, like poltergeists and shit like this, that your emotions actually create the poltergeist. I mean, hell, there was an experiment. They did a movie based off of this called The Apparition, but this was an actual experiment they did in the 1970s. What was it called? In the movie, they called it Charlie Charlie. I can't remember what they really called it, because it's been a long time since I looked up this case. But for 7 years, a group of non-paranormal people got together and created this entire backstory for this ghost and was communicating with it. And after 7 years, they were actually able to get the table to levitate and move to its questions. As weird as that sounds, like, it's a really interesting case. It really is. I might have to talk about that movie, The Apparition, because, like I said, it's based on an actual true case that I really adore. I just haven't looked into it in a good minute. But I get where his philosophy is coming from about, you know, don't feed it energy. I mean, that's the way Eric, funny enough, deals with ghosts himself. You know, I'm a believer in the supernatural. I see things. I've seen things. You know, things I can't explain and things I don't want to understand. But when I see something and I gotta question it, Eric just looks at me and goes, "Don't acknowledge his presence. It does not exist." And I can't get too mad about that because he's right. Don't give it energy. Can't hurt you. So I like the philosophy behind his ideals. But the fact of the matter is, I still would be questioning a lot of this shit, especially if I saw one sit up and talk to me. Like, even I would be like, okay, I can't explain many things in this world. this is one of those things I can't explain. This is just one, like, you're talking to me. Can you tell me who your killer is? That would be nice. That would be real nice. If a body just woke up and go, this person killed me, and then went back to sleep. Think of all the cases they could solve if that happened. But I digress. So as he tells the story, we see a little boy. Originally, I thought this little boy was a little thief. No and yes. This little boy, he's coming to collect his toys. But the fact that he has to hop this fence to come collect his toys, and he knows, and he knows that his friend is dead, he's still gonna hop the fence and try to collect his toys anyway. So as he's collecting his little toys, he looks into the kitchen window and sees the dead body sitting there. So what does this kid do? He just walks over to the window, starts knocking on it, just, hey, what's going on? Just hello? And of course, the fucking kid, the boy's body moves. Like, just, oh my god, this scene's so intense because of the fact that you can hear, like, the bones crackling as he's moving his head sideways to look at this kid. But we hear this intense scream, and we cut back to the doctor and Mario talking about these pictures, which are the pictures Walter took from his camera of the naked figure. And as they're chit-chatting about it, of course, they hear the screams, so they go in to investigate, and there's nobody there, but the little boy's backpack is there, and the door is open, so they end up closing it and looking at the boy, and they go, we gotta move this body. Like, this ain't safe, we gotta move it. So they wrap it up, and they take it out back. Now, I don't know what this little shit was doing. Now the little boy's a little shit now, because this little shit needs to mind his own fucking business. I literally want to smack the shit out of him. But and also the fact that, again, this boy hopped the fence, which means he was trespassing, by the way, trespassing. He did not have permission from Alicia to be in this backyard. But this motherfucker's got the audacity to record on his piece of crap phone, by the way. I'm going to talk shit on his phone because fuck this kid. Well, on his piece of crap phone, he's recording them moving the body and putting it in the freezer. And I don't know why the little shit decided to do this, but the little shit decided to do this and then go show his mom. Because we hear about this when Mario's listening to Alicia's voicemails near the end of the movie. And she's just like, yeah, my son just showed me this tape and you just call me back. Just like, no, bitch. You should scold your son for going into people's houses against people's permissions. And second of all, it's not your damn business, okay? Third of all, how the fuck do you not even know about any of this shit? Like, straight up. Like, there is plenty of cops at her house. You don't think people are going to be asking questions? Especially like, hey, why are cops? And why are you covered in mud and acting all fucking crazy? Why? But after they remove the body and the little shit runs off, the cop comes back and they explain to him that they had to move the body because, you know, it was freaking people out. So they go to the freezer, and as they go to open the freezer, they hear something. Like crying, almost like a whining sound. As they lean in closer, of course the fucking freezer moves and it jolts back a little bit. And what's funny is that there's a flower pot on top of it that Mario put on top of there because, you know, God forbid, safety measures. Like, seriously, he puts it on top of there and he looks at the doctor and just goes, well, you never know. Like, seriously, just cuz. You never know. Like, straight up. But they agree that they need to move the whole body, the whole thing, and they need to work together now. So now we're back with Juan, and they basically are asking him permission to stay in his house for a couple of days, and they need him to sign some papers, and he's just like, okay, yeah, sure, stay in my fucking house. Good luck. Like, that's all I can say, just good luck. They needed more than luck, my dudes. I'm just saying. So they got a plan. Everybody's gonna go into these individual houses by themselves and set up and see if they can't find some evidence and proof that whatever's going on is supernatural in some sense or something like that. But we have Mario who goes to Alicia's house. The doctor goes into Juan's house. And, of course, the cop and the doctor's friend, Rose Tech, is in Walter's house. Now the thing also is that Juan doesn't know what happened to Walter, and as he asks that, where he's just like, so where is Walter? Nobody's seen this man for a while. We don't know how long a while it is. Could be a couple of days, could be a couple of weeks. Nobody's seen him. So they end up going into their own little individual houses and getting everything kind of set up. And as we're getting everything set up, we got Mario. He's got like water with a whole bunch of compasses around. The doctor, she's got like these crazy contraptions with a pendulum and shit happening with her. And the fucking cop and his buddy, all they got is a little UV light on their cell phones. Just, ooh. Everybody else got these kick-ass, like, cool-ass shit with lights. Walter's house has no lights and it's cluttered. I feel sorry for the cop. He got the shit in that stick. But they go to the bathroom, they use the UV light, you see the handprints and weird symbols and some weird shenanigans going on the walls, and he's just like, so what exactly are we doing here? Like, what are we looking for here? Looking for clues, looking for evidence. Just why? Just why? Well, we needed to prove our case, to prove what's going on. And he looks at him and explains to the cop that he's also scared and that fear is contagious. And he makes a joke going, well, I'm very contagious. You know, I have heart problems, health problems. You know, he's got some kind of heart problems with his like blood coagulating or something like that. And he's got a hearing aid. Which, by the way, I love the fact that they actually use the hearing aid throughout the rest of this movie once he informs us to kind of help. Because, again, the way that these things are explained, they're like interdimensional, and this whole... We'll get there when we get there, but there's whole plot point about different perspectives when it comes to looking at these beings. And so when they use the hearing aid, you know, he's always constantly moving left or right, left to right. And what's cool is that his hearing aid, I want to say, can kind of hear what's going on as long as he leans into it. And we'll get there when we get there, but we'll see at one point where it really comes in handy with a good scare. But as they're chit-chatting about this, he's just like, maybe I shouldn't be in this house. And of course, you know, Rosak's just like, yeah, I kind of agree. Maybe you shouldn't be here, but okay, we're still going to do this shit. And as they're getting ready, Mario gets a call from somebody and picks up. And she's like, hey, listen, I've been trying to get in contact with Alicia for days. You know, is everything all right? Yeah, everything's fine. She's at her sister's house. Here's the number. Do you have a name? And she hangs up the phone. It's like, okay, fucking weird, but okay. We then cut back to the doctor, who is still fucking with her contraptions and shit, and her shit starts going on, like, starts, like, freaking out, like it's doing something. So we're back with the cop and everybody, and they're looking, the cop and Rosak are looking through the kitchen area, and at first I didn't know how best to describe this, because I just thought it was like a weird rack or something, but apparently there's just this random bunch of silverware just stuck up underneath this cabinet. And of course, the one dude's just standing there just moving it back and forth with his hand. And he's just like, oh, you looking at this, man? Looking at this? And the cop's just like, nah, bro, don't be fucking with this shit. And he's just like, yeah, he keeps fucking with it. Until eventually a fucking knife comes out of nowhere, stabs him in the hand, and he's stuck on the cabinet, and they're like pulling on it as hard as they can, and it's not releasing. And then you slowly start listening. You can hear sucking noises, like something's, just going ham on her. And even he's just like, something is sucking my blood. I hear it in the cabinet. All right. So Furnace takes out his gun and he points it at the cabinet, and the dude slowly opens the cabinet door, and there's nothing in there. But then suddenly all the silverware just moves over to the other side of the cabinet, bringing other pieces of silverware with it. And he goes to shoot it, and the guy's just like, no, don't shoot it. Undoes the knife off his hand, cleans up his wound, and calls the doctor, right? And he's just like, man, we're getting a lot of evidence of all this shit. Like, it's looking real fiery and everything. And of course, fucking the poor cop, he's sitting there and he's looking into another room as the dude's on the phone with the doctor. You know, he's explaining about all this like kick-ass evidence he's got. And he's saying these objects slowly move. Like, the fucking clock starts, like, sliding up the fucking, the wall and everything. The chairs start moving. The pictures start pointing in weird directions. And the whole time, the dude just on the phone just, yeah, this is great evidence. Hey, this is going fantastic. And the cop's just like, dude, just are you, yeah, okay, you're not seeing this shit? Okay. He hangs up the phone. He's just like, okay, this is what I need you to do. Go and start cleaning the blood up right now because they love blood. And he's like, are you sure? Yeah, just go ahead and do it. He's like, okay. He like looks back at the room where all the objects were moving around. So he goes in there and he starts trying to clean it up as quickly as he can. And as he's going, he gets to the kitchen where most of the blood's at. And he hears weird gargling noises coming from the sink. And he's just like, no, fuck this shit. Walks out, calls his buddy Mario. And he's just like, hey, man, I can't do this shit. Like, my heart can't take it. I can't take this. No, I'm leaving. I'm done with this shit. And Mario's trying to calm him down. Now, this was the jump scare that scared me so badly, I jumped out of my chair. Like, it was just so, even though I seen it coming, I knew it was coming, but it made me jump so high out of my chair, I laughed, because I knew I changed positions and everything, because I was just, like, chilling back, my knees up, just leaning back, and as soon as I jumped, I, like, slipped down further into my chair, and I was like, oh, that got me, that scared the shit out of me, that got me, though. But while he's on the phone with Mario, he's just like, yeah, man, I can't do this shit. I gotta go, you know, I'm done with this shit. And Mario's just like, hey, man, where are you at right now? I'm inside the house. What room? What do you mean, what room? I'm in the kitchen. And who's standing in the living room? And as he's talking, he's moving his head back and forth with this window. And there's like this one little window pane, so when he's looking on one side, it's not there. And he looks on the other side, it's there. And he's just like, yeah, there's somebody in the house. And of course, Furnace is looking around, he's like, there's nobody here. It's just me and the other guy, there's nobody else here. And as he's doing this, you know, we just see the thing just kind of move, you know, move like this, and it's still just standing in the window. Until he moves again and the thing pops up right in front of him. Straight up, scared the shit out of me. And I was expecting it too. I'm like, this is a classic OG scare right here. The whole different camera angles, you know, closer, further thing. Still got me though. Still fucking got, like, I screamed out loud and everything. I was surprised my roommate didn't run in and go, oh my god, are you alright? But yeah, scared the shit out of me. Loved it though. Like, I giggled because I scared myself so bad. That, you know, you have done a good job in my book when I get scared and it excites me so much that I giggle. Because I love a good jump scare. I am a sucker for a good scare. That's why I love movies like The Changeling and shit. It brings a good scare to me. Always gets me every time. But yeah, highly love that scare. It's actually one of my favorite ones. I'm surprised I didn't talk about whatever this creature is a lot more in 101 Scary Movie Moments, because that, hands down, was one of the creepiest things. Between that and when we did the bed scene, those two scenes alone scared the shit out of me. And we see the creature, whatever the hell it is. And like I said, the best way I can describe it is a humanoid creature with really pale skin, about 6'4", super skinny, butt-ass naked, but these, like, piercing blue eyes. I'm talking about, like, these piercing, like, it's fucking creepy. But, of course, Furnace just like, yeah, no, I'm still getting the fuck out of here, buddy. And they hang up the phone, and Rose-Tag is getting everything, you know, situated. He's just like, I think I figured this out, man. It's underneath us. And he's like, what do you mean underneath us? And he takes him to the bed and lifts up the covers. Of course, there's nothing underneath the bed. And he puts it down. And he looks at him and just goes, now let's change our perspective. And he moves over to the other side of the bed. He lifts up the covers again. And that's when the cop comes around and he looks underneath there. And there's a fucking pair of feet just chilling there, just hanging out. And he's just like, and I'm gonna be honest, this guy started getting really deranged for no fucking reason, but he's just like grinning from ear to ear, just light and darkness, light and darkness. And it's just like, bro, I don't know what crackhead energy you just found, but take it back a notch, okay? Take it back a notch. But he starts explaining, these are two realities sharing the same place at the same time. Darkness and light. Well, Furnace handles this shit very well. He knows the fuck out. He runs outside. You hear his heartbeat just ba-doom, 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 just going crazy. The man's holding his hand like he's trying to not have a heart attack right then and there. And while that's going on, we cut back to the doctor, who's now sitting in front of the crack in the wall, which is now a bigger crack in the wall than it originally was when we saw Juan fixing it originally. And she's sitting there, she's a little flashlight, just looking around, and she sees what she thinks is Walter. And we, kind of cut back to fucking Furnace running into the Alicia's house, trying to find Mario. And there's no Mario there. There's no Mario there, but there is broken glass and blood everywhere. So that ain't good. But as he goes to investigate, he hears something in this cabinet with all these glasses. I forget what it's called. It starts with a C. It's this very fancy name for a fancy piece of furniture that holds your booze glasses and shit. But he's looking at it, and of course he opens them. There's nothing in there. But like I said, with his hearing aid, he actually hears like the creatures. So as he's leaning in on one side, he hears like, and some scratching, and then he leans back again. We don't hear it, and he leans back, and we continue to hear it. So eventually he moves the piece of furniture around, and at the back end continues to hear this gasping noise. So he breaks open the back, and there's his buddy with bleeding eyeballs, screaming about, I need to get out of here, the glass splinters are in my eyes. Fucking terrifying shit. So we cut back to the doctor again, who's now trying to talk to Walter, air quotes around that because it ain't fucking Walter, but she's just like, is everything okay? Do you want to talk? Like, says just calm as ever, just, I'm sorry I'm late. It'll be alright, If you want to come out, it'll be alright. It's like, bitch, your friends are dying around you and you're completely clueless. My Furnace runs in and he's got covered in fucking blood, right? He's covered in blood and he's just like, I found Mario. He's trapped inside this furniture and I just don't know what to do. Like, we need to get out of here. We need to, and she just, get calm as fuck. Just don't believe everything you see. What? What do you mean don't believe? I know what I saw. Okay, he's stuck in a cabinet. Just as he's describing this shit, I'm like, maybe she's got some merit here, buddy, because what you're saying sounds crazy as hell. But he points out, I have blood on me, and not all of this, it's not even my blood, actually. I'm not even hurt. This is Mario's blood. This is Rosetac blood. Like, seriously, this is not okay. And she's just like, just go wash your hands. They don't like blood. Have you drank any of the water? Any of the tap water? And he's just like, no. And so he starts washing his hands with this bottle of water he's got, and he's just like, all right, can you explain this to me? Because I'm not getting what's going on. Well, I have a theory. I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to believe it. Please tell me your theory. and her theory is these the two dimensions are both with life. They're basically on top of each other, almost like parallel universes, and we can't see them because of our perspectives. We have to change our perspectives to look around. And unfortunately, because these things travel by water, and this is their nest, they're very powerful and all over the fucking place. I'm not gonna lie, this thing, even though there's one of them, he pops up every fucking where. But yeah, like the best way I can describe it though is literally two dimensions, both with living organism. One is a parallel dimensional being that drinks blood, basically drinks blood, and just wants to come into our world, I guess, to wreak havoc or something. I'm not quite sure, because there's something else that gets said, and you can miss it if you're not paying attention, because it comes at a very good jump scare. I'm talking about to the point I was screaming at the TV, the fucking drive. That moment, we'll get there when we get there. But I don't think it's as simple as that. I don't think they're just here to kidnap and reproduce. I think there's more to whatever these beings are, and I'll explain, once we get there. But as she explains the best she can about the dimensions and about how the water, channels through everything, and that is used to help them cross over. He's just like, so is there any way we could stop this? Stop this? No, there's no way we're gonna be able to stop this. Like, just nonchalantly, we're fucked. We're fucked 100%. But, this is cool. And as she's having this conversation with him, this fucking huge ass hand comes out of the wall and just grabs her by the head and then yanks her into the wall a little bit. Like, we don't get to see the full detail, but my imagination does the job for me. Because all we do is see Furnace's face as he's looking at this shit. And this man is freaking out so badly, he starts having a heart attack. I'm not even joking, a legitimate heart attack. And he falls to the floor. And we see the creature just slowly coming out of the hole in the wall that's gotten bigger, by the way. And he's covered in blood, and he's slowly crawling towards the poor cop dude who's just sitting there trying not to die, basically. And while he's on the floor and having all this shit, fucking roast tag, he's setting up his own equipment. He's in his own little la world. He's doing his own little thing. He's setting up his equipment, though, and he's recording, and the door behind him opens. And that's the last we see of this guy. Physically, that is. He's mentioned one more time at the end of the movie, but that's the last we actually see of this guy, but I'm pretty sure he's dead. Just like everybody else. So we come back to Furnace, and he's on the floor, and he's just getting up, and he's alright. He's alright, just having some problems breathing. Maybe he needs to go to the hospital or something. But as he's getting up, he realizes his hearing aid's gone, so he reaches for it. And as he reaches for it, fucking table just poltergeists his ass all the way across the floor. And we see two chairs do the same thing, and they all converge at the hole in the wall. So he backs up into the kitchen as he puts his hearing aid on. He's adjusting it. And then we hear this weird dripping sound. So he looks up, and there's the fuck creatures. You see his little hands just over the edge of the sink, and then it slowly pulls itself over to look at him, and he freaks out, and he backs up, and of course, because he changed perspectives, now it's not there anymore. So as he's about to stand up, fucking Alicia comes back. And this woman, she's got shit dripping from her hands. She looks like she's been crying all day. She looks stoned as fuck. She's just zoned out. What are you doing here? I'm having a heart attack. Take me to the hospital. You tried to convince everybody I was crazy. You buried my son in cement. Why would you do this? Why would you do this? Because of you. I'm doing this to protect you. Now, I'm having a heart attack. Can you please take me to the hospital? So she agrees. So she's like, okay, let's go to the hospital. So, he stumbles on out. He gets the car door. She opens the car door. He's about to go in. And guess what? the bitch stole the body again. Okay, I'm not gonna say again because I'm a firm believer the body walked itself to her house the first time. The second time, however, she stole it 100% because she's covered in dirt and mud and she has shit dripping from her hands. Clearly, she stole the body. But the kid's in the back seat, and this guy's looking at her while she's just like, I couldn't just leave him there. I couldn't do that. He's just like, yep, nope. I'll take myself to the hospital, thank you. And he walks back into his car and he sits down. And now this scene, fucking beautiful. So as he's sitting in the car, it's quiet. It's dead quiet. And you see from afar, because the way the camera angles out, we're in the passenger seat looking at him who's in the driver's seat, and we see like the driveway to the house. We see a figure come out of the house, and it's standing there tall and shit. And as he's like slowly like collecting himself, trying to start his car up, we see this figure just slowly start moving quicker and quicker and quicker. And then it gets up to us. It's the doctor. And she is disjointed from fuck. Y'all remember that scene in Smile? Where the woman knocks on the window and it turns her head? Yeah, no, this scene did it like 10 times better. Because it talks to you. It fucking talks to you. She runs up there and her head's disjointed like upside down. You know, she is basically saying, there's still time. You need to save us. We are being tortured. That right there tells me there's more to these beings than just drinking blood. They're doing more to them. Like, the best way I could describe it. It's like it's purpose. It's what he said about fear being contagious. It feels like they're purposely like festering these spirits, these ghosts, whatever they are now. I'm not quite sure they're part of the dimensional creatures now, or if they're their own individual things. I'm not quite sure. Again, it's not fully explained. Hopefully in the sequel it's a bit more explained. But whatever it is keeping them and is torturing them. It's purposely torturing them. So is it physical torture? Is it mental torture? The point is, it's torturing them, but for what reason? Why is the reason? Why does it do it? Like, I would even take the fact that it's just a fucked up creature. Like, like with Michael, the way they have changed Michael and said, you know, oh, he's just going after Laura because he's her brother, or he's going after Jamie because that's his niece. You know, it's now, oh, Michael's just doing what he wants to do because he wants to go home. I'm satisfied with that. You told me what he wanted, and he's succeeding. I wouldn't mind learning the same thing about these creatures. You know, they're just doing this because, well, they're just hungry. They're fucked up individuals. They like torturing people. Like, I don't know. But, yeah, like I said, I feel like there's a lot more to these creatures than just they like to drink blood and they're from a different parallel universe. So, I got questions, man. I got questions. I'm hoping the sequel will answer this. But, to be frank, though, if anyone's got any ideas, though, let me know in the comments down below. Because I'm always interested in hearing from y'all, especially, definitely y'all's perspective on this, if y'all have seen the movie. Because, I mean, it's fucking grand. Like I said, this whole interdimensional thing blew my fucking mind. I was expecting ghosts, I was expecting demons, I was not expecting this. But yeah, that scene though, where when she walks up to the car and she yells that out at him, scared the shit out of me, because again, it's all quiet, it's all audio, so we just hear the footsteps as he gets closer than we hear it talk to him. But he starts the car up and takes off, and of course there's bloody handprints on the car, and he parks somewhere to charge his phone up, and as he's sitting there charging his phone up, he gets a radio call. You know, it's one of his lieutenants or whatever, and he's just like, hey, what's going on, man? Man, you've been missing for hours. Where the hell have you been at? It's been a long night, man. Man, it's mayhem here at the office. Alicia was looking for you. She came in trying to find you. She was determined to find you. Unfortunately, I had to tell her where you were at. The fucking mayor is involved. Or the mayor is here for some reason. Like, it's some crazy ass shit going on. So, we then hear that his buddy trying to find him went to Alicia's house. His car's not there, but while he's standing there going, yeah, your car's not here. But your buddy Mario's here though. Like first of all, we saw Mario. He's got bleeding eyeballs. You're telling me this guy saw a man standing there with bleeding eyeballs and was just nonchalant, just yeah, your buddy's here. And of course, the fucking cop's just like, bro, get away from that. I'm telling you to back up, go home. Don't just leave the area. Eventually the guy agrees and he ends up leaving. So while he's sitting there contemplating all his life choices, he's smoking a cigarette, because that's definitely going to help. Like, straight up. He's got heart problems. Yeah, fucking smoke it out, man. It will help you out in the long run. Grant, I think he's got bigger problems than a fucking heart condition at this moment. I'm just saying. But homie's sitting there and he's smoking and he looks at it, and of course, he gets the idea, let's burn down the house. Even as he was looking at the cigarette, I knew that's exactly where he was going with that. Cause I'm like, name one horror movie where a person ain't looking at the cigarette and going, you know what, let's just like torch the house. Like, straight up. So he goes back to the house, and while he's in the house, he's just pouring this gasoline, like, straight up. First of all, does he just conveniently have 2 cans of gasoline just chilling in the back of his car? Second of all, why? Just why? Because we don't see him go get the gas or anything. He just literally decides to get the gas and then head to the house. So I don't know if he just conveniently had 2 gas canisters in his car, or he just conveniently had 2 gasoline filled up canisters in his car. Point is, this man had gas. He starts just fucking going ham in the house, though, just like pouring this shit everywhere. He's thinking, I'm going to destroy this house. I'm going to end this shit once and fucking for all. And he gets to the little boy's room, and of course, we see little muddy handprints all over the door, so he opens it. And this was another good jump scare. Which, speaking of, there was a jump scare I forgot to mention, dealing with the whole perspective talk. When we actually see the creatures a little bit more, we see 2 of them, and then a third one pops up. So that was another little good jump scare. But this jump scare was actually really done well because of the camera perspective. When we look into the room originally, we don't see anything there, and then we cut back to the detective who's standing there, and of course, we see him jump back, and then we cut to the door, the open door again, and there's that little boy standing there being all creepy and shit, and he just slams the door shut. Like, how rude. So homie starts pouring more gasoline on there, and then he gets to the kitchen, and poor Alicia, she killed herself. She hung herself right there in the kitchen. He takes that in for a moment, realizing, well, she did. So he starts pouring more gasoline everywhere, including on her. And then he gets out of the house, throws the rest of the gasoline into the house, starts trying to light the fire. And as he's lighting it, it keeps going out, just keeps going out. And I'm just like, bro, use a fucking Zippo if you're having that much of a problem. Use a fucking Zippo. By the third match, once he gets tries to get a light, we see something blow it out, and it's his buddy Mario with a fucking bulging red eyes now. So just bleeding eyes, they're bulging red now, and he's just sitting there laughing at him, just like, you trying to set this house on fire. So Mario fucking shoots the gasoline to spark it, and thus starting the fire. And that's the last time we see either one of those guys. So after all that bullshit of trying to set the house on fire, we then cut back the poor Juan, who at this point now, I think we time jump forward. I think like maybe a year, could be less. But he's now talking to 3 new people, and they're discussing the 3 original people, the doctor, and Furnace, and all of them. And they're just like, do you remember these people? Yes, I do. Do you remember their names? No, I don't. Do you know why they were there? Yeah, I gave them permission. Okay. What about this guy? Oh, Furnace, yeah, I knew him. He was with Alicia. He was there at the funeral. Well, he's a fugitive now. He's wanted. This cop right here witnessed him burn down the house with 2 people inside. 2 people? 2 people? Wonder who the 2 people were. So seriously, like, are we counting the little boy? And if it was Alicia, they would see that she had hung herself because of the rope and all that shenanigans. I don't know. I don't really know how they figured all this shit out, but they said they found two people there. And while they're chit-chatting with Warren, he looks over behind them and he's just like, hey, is he with you? And they turn around. There's nobody there. So they keep talking, and he looks down, looks at this photo, and it's Rosetac, and he takes the photo, turns it around, and then pushes towards them, and he's like, that's who's here. Except his face is more burnt. And they look back again, look over, and they're like, there's nobody there. And he's just like, he came with you. He followed you here. And then we see this chair move. And then, of course, they look back at the chair and like, oh, shit, man. Like, oh, hell no. And then we go back to Juan, and he just keeps saying over and over, he followed you here. He came with you here. And then we pan out. We're looking at all the guys looking at this chair. And then the chair gets flung straight into the camera, and then we cut to credits. I have not seen a jump scare like that in a minute. I'm not going to lie. The whole cliffhanger jump scare, I haven't seen that in a minute, so that was a real treat, especially with finding out that they are planning on doing a sequel and picking up directly where they left off at. According to the director, he's picking up exactly where he left off at in this movie. So maybe it might be a couple of hours, could be a day or two, but we should pick up exactly where we left off at. But it leaves me with so many questions. I want to know more about these interdimensional beings. I want to know more about, how did this happen? Why is this happening? Like, what did Walter do? What did he say? What did he upset to cause such turmoil in an entire neighborhood? Also, what did that kid do? Like, straight up. But yeah, this is a really, really good movie. It beat my expectations by like a mile. I mean, it's dead serious, guys. With this one, I couldn't remember why I wrote it down. I just remember I put this in with a group, with the group when I picked out the movies for the month. And I was sitting there like, why did I pick this movie? What was it that caught my attention so much that I had to pick this one? And of course, when I was going through the movie, I was like, oh yeah, it was the scene with the little boy, and it really rang true. But going into the movie, I didn't really have a lot of high expectations. I was thinking it was gonna be a generic, horror movie, cliche as hell, maybe just told in a different perspective or some bullshit, ghosts and demons. But no, this movie thoroughly surprised me. It's got some amazing scares in it. Like I said, these are well-built, intense scares. Like I said, with the window one, even though it's a rather obvious placement, but because of the tension and the timing of this whole thing, it builds up well. The one where the woman's running at the car, that's done well because the audio. The one with the thing underneath the bed that we don't see to the last second, that shit's fucking terrifying. Like, it's done extremely well. And I love it, man. I fucking love it. This is not your typical ghost story movie. This is some crazy-ass, wacky-ass shit. And I'm glad I took the time to sit down and watch this Shudder original because it is a fantastic and loving movie. Loved everything about it. I highly recommend this one. Like I said, I usually don't get jump scared too terribly easy. Like, I'll watch several movies and just be stone-faced the entire time. Everybody else, oh my god, oh shit, just me. No, I saw it coming a mile away. No, that doesn't scare me. Maybe the loud noise might get me. But when I jump and then I giggled because I'm scared, you did a good job, man. You did a good job. Because that's why I watch horror movies. I like to be scared. I don't like to be terrified now, and I don't like to be traumatized. Let me phrase that. I don't like to be terrified. I just don't like to be traumatized. And traumatization comes from different other shows and movies that we will discuss at some later point when I am feeling up to it in the mental capacity. I'm talking about they. We will get to that show at some point, people. I promise we will get to they. But I gotta be mentally ready to get into that movie, like, straight up, because that episode 5 just, it traumatized me. It fucking traumatized me. But I don't necessarily like that. Now, I can forgive it in some aspects when it traumatizes me because of the fact that it takes a lot to traumatize me. So I do give it praise when I am traumatized. I just don't like it. If that makes any sense. I don't like being traumatized, but I do stand up and go, congratulations, you traumatized me. Because it takes a lot to traumatize me. I'm very desensitized to a lot of horror shit. Like, straight up, I'm very desensitized. I'm starting to get desensitized to kids' deaths now because of these foreign horror movies. And that's fucked up to say, but it's so true because in America, like I said, we don't deal with a lot of death of kids. Like, they usually happen off screen or like during like a fade to black, or you know, we get like these like weird cuts where we don't see the kid necessarily die, but we know they die. Like, let's go to Pet Sematary when Gage died. We didn't see him get hit by the fucking vehicle, but all we saw was his little red shoe and some blood, and we knew what the hell happened. Especially when his dad started screaming, no! And we have those beautiful flashbacks of him as a kid. We know what happened there. We didn't see it, though. This movie straight up is just like, nah, you want to see that kid get hit by a bus? Boom! Hit by a bus. So, like I said, I like it when I get scared, and I like it when it's a good scare that I could talk about. And I haven't been excited about a movie in a good minute, so I do see this as like a top 10 for me this year. Like, there's been some great picks this year. I'm not gonna lie, I've done some great picks this year when it comes to movies, and we still got plenty of more coming, plenty more to go with. But I think I done rambled on long enough about this beautiful ass movie. Again, guys, I highly recommend it. But we're going to go ahead and end this podcast here. I hope everybody who has watched, is watching, will watch. I hope you enjoy. I hope everybody has a fantastic and a wonderful night. And if you're watching this video here on YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, wherever, please give this video a like, subscribe, and quite possibly a comment down below, because you never know what fuck shit's going to happen. Trust me, I don't know. I do my best to keep up to date with everything I'm going to do. We got Fatal Frame next week, guys, coming with onto the podcast. I'm going to be doing an entire overview of all of the Fatal Frame games, especially their inspiration and their kind of lagging in the horror community itself, because these games are beautiful. And we haven't talked about a good spiritual game in a good minute, but also coming up as well, I know y'all all probably seen it. Y'all all probably heard about it. But Five Nights at Freddy's finally dropped their teaser trailer after 8 fucking years. So we will at one point be doing a Five Nights at Freddy's retrospect. We will be talking about the video games, mainly the OG ones. Mainly we'll be talking about the OG ones. We will be talking about the books. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, because I don't necessarily want to start adding like a lot of the, when I say books, I'm talking about like the Silver Eyes, the Twisted Ones, and the Fourth Closet, those 3 books. Because granted, as much as the other books do come in handy, like the Fazbear Fright books and all that shit, I haven't read all of those. I can maybe give a brief summary that might help. I don't know how I'm going to play this Five Nights at Freddy's. That's why I'm like kind of like thinking about it as I'm saying this shit, because of the fact that I'm not quite sure how I want to play this off. But I do want to do this whole thing building up to the movie itself, because I am super excited about this movie. I'm not the biggest, like, hugest fucking fan of the Five Nights at Freddy's, but I do like it. I have the MatPat Game Theory Christmas sweater that I bought a couple of years ago from MatPat's store for Five Nights at Freddy's. I played all the games. I got my sister into it. She loves it. It's her thing as well. I played the VR game. I actually did it on stream. I actually might replay it again, because it's been a minute since I played it, and have a good time with it. But we'll have to see there when we get there. I don't know. But that's a story for another day. So until then, my friends, y'all take care.